after this interview, we'd like just a few shots of you working, doing something. What do you normally do when you're here?
I sit at a desk.
Okay.
So,
You talk to people though, right?
yes.
Okay, we can maybe get some of that interaction.
Okay, Paul, we're ready.
Okay. So, for the people who don't know, what is it that you make here and what do these devices do?
All right. What we do here for ABG Neuros is we create, or well, we build turbo blowers. They're high efficiency, high efficiency, low, I don't know, high efficiency.
I'm going to
Yeah.
Why don't you look right at me when you say
Okay.
this? Okay.
I didn't know which one it's
Yeah,
supposed
you
to
look
be.
right at me. Okay,
All right.
so what is it that you make here and what do they do?
All right. What we do here is we build turbo blowers. They're high efficiency, high volume flow blowers.
What do turbo blowers do?
All right. The turbo blowers are used in 95% of the industry, or we use in 95. We sell to. I can't do this.
Are you all right?
uh,
We could just relax.
yeah.
Just relax. So what do turbo blowers do?
Turbo blowers are sold to wastewater treatment plants. They're used to aerate the sludge to prevent, or to. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We'll get through it.
Yeah.
We will.
Um,
So just very simply, what do turbo blowers do?
all right. Turbo blowers. I don't see that. What do they do?
You were telling me in the conference room what they did.
Yeah, I know.
Let me see what I wrote down. They blow, don't they create bubbles in a whole, what is that called? A whole big thing of water.
Yeah, I know,
Tank
but
of
but
water.
but
And
what
then
we.
what that does is it feeds the oxygen to the
Yeah.
interior and that cleans the wastewater.
Is that what we want to go with that
Yes.
part of it?
Yeah.
All right.
So what do turbo blowers do?
Turbo blowers are used in wastewater treatment plants to add oxygen to the water to help the chemical process to break down the sludge and to basically clean the water so it's safe to use and put back out into the environment.
Nice. Okay, that's good. Why is Plattsburgh a good location for this operation?
Why it's a good location?
You know what? We can skip that.
Yeah.
We can skip it because it's been answered already.
All right.
Why do you think this is a great place to work here?
It's a great place to work at Neuros. It's been a very challenging place to work. I've started here since the beginning, which was about 4 years ago. I had a lot of aspects of the company. I learned a lot of different things. And to me, that's the best part. It's a challenge. We've got a good group of people here. It's a small group, but it's a very tight group. And it's a fun place to work.
Nice. Okay. So, why do you feel it's important that the turbo blowers are so energy efficient? Why is that important?
All right, the blowers need to be energy efficient because what it's doing is replacing the existing blowers in the field right now, which are inefficient. And the more efficiency blowers allows the municipalities to use less power, less energy, which then costs actually the taxpayers less money. So overall, it's a much better situation, plus less fossil fuels and stuff like that. So it's much better for the environment.
Nice. Beautiful. Also, the turbo blowers, you kind of covered that. They're also low in maintenance costs. Why is that, and why is that good?
All right, turbo blowers are low in maintenance costs, basically due to the air bearing technology. The air bearing technology, the bearing and the motor runs on a film of air, so there's no grease, there's no oil, there's the only thing that there's a filter that needs to be changed is the only maintenance item that it has. So that's why it's at a low cost for maintenance, because there's only a filter that needs to be changed.
Nice. Okay, good. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna go through the different steps of what happens with one of these blowers, and I have a list here. 1 second, let me find it. Okay, well, what I'd like you to do is take me through each of the steps. We're gonna start with receiving. This can be a sentence or two. That's all
Okay.
it has to be.
Okay.
I want to know what happens with receiving. What happens to that? What's it called? Enclosure.
Yeah.
So tell me what an enclosure is. First
Okay.
of all, it's like a shell or whatever,
Yeah.
wherever you want to put it, and tell me what happens with that in receiving.
Okay. What's the first?
You're going to talk about the enclosure.
Yeah, but no, but you said
Talk
answer.
about receiving. What happens with the
All right,
enclosure and
we-
receiving? I'd like you to say I'd like you to set this up like first we
All
do
right.
this.
Okay.
It's like the very first thing that
All
we
right.
do with these enclosures.
All right. All right. The first thing we do with when the enclosure comes in the building, we have to receive it. During this process, it comes in. We have to uncrate it. The enclosure is basically the shell of the blower. It includes, well, that's where all the electrical equipment and the turbo blower itself will be installed later on. But after it comes in, it's received. It goes through a paperwork trail. It gets entered in the system and inspected at that point.
Nice. Okay. Now let's talk about the cable assembly. Tell me what happens with cable assembly, and I
All
would
right.
say next. This is
All
what
right.
we do.
Next, we'll have the cable assemblies will be built. These cable assemblies include the large power cables and the smaller electrical cables for the HMI and PLC, which would then be later on installed into the blower.
Okay. Can we stop? Instead of saying the cable assembly will be built, can you tell me? Isn't it that you're doing the wiring too? You're installing the cables. and
Well,
you're doing the
okay. Well,
wiring?
well, the first thing they do, they build them first, and then we install them. So we can go into the part where they're installing them too.
Can you breeze over that?
All right.
So that it all becomes like one thing.
One thing.
Yeah.
Okay. The next step would be to take the enclosure, and then we'll install the electrical equipment, the power cables, into the blower, and we'll hook up the core itself with the power cables itself, also along with the power cables, and that'll basically finish the assembly of the enclosure.
I'm gonna stop. I just meant I like
Nope.
the first part.
Okay.
but Not we don't want to get to the core yet.
Okay.
I want to hear that the wiring is done.
Okay.
And the electrical stuff is installed first.
But Paul, that's not true.
Well, that's what they told me this morning.
So they build the wiring up there.
Yeah.
They assemble the wiring, and then they install the components
Okay, but don't
along with the blower.
Yeah.
you install the
It's all
components
one.
with the blower?
Yeah, well, like over there, what they're doing when they show you to you, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be, we have the cables pre-built
Yeah.
kits.
Yeah.
So we pre-build a kit
Yeah.
for the HMI
Yeah.
and for the power cables. Then they're brought down and installed into the enclosure with
With
the
the blower.
with the electrical equipment.
Yeah.
And then the blower is also installed. It's just basically another piece of electrical equipment.
Okay. So the assembly, no, the cable assembly, is that what happens up there?
That's what's done up there.
Okay. All right. Let's make that a separate step then.
Okay.
So tell me about the cable assembly. What goes on up there?
All right. So the next step would be to have the cable assemblies built, which are the large power cables and the what we call the VFD back panel, which composes of some electrical components and some cables that are pre-done so they can be done in one step when it gets down to the blowers to speed up assembly.
Okay, then what happens with the assembly? What
All
happens
right.
with the assembly part?
After this, the kits for the wiring and the kits for the panels are brought down and installed into the enclosure, along with additional electrical components, with the core being put in last to finalize the assembly of the blower.
Very nice. Okay, then the testing happens,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Tell me about the testing.
Then we move the blower over into the test department. During test, we'll load up the HMI and PLC with our programs. We bring them into test. We'll run a 4-hour test to ensure functionality of the blower, and we set up the calibration of the blower itself to protect itself. And that's about it, to protect itself.
Actually, and I would make one suggestion too, would be everything else was great in that, but maybe instead of HMI and PLC, maybe say the onboard computers or something, So
Okay.
Like a layman.
Yeah.
somebody who
Okay.
doesn't know just for that one thing, like we
All
load
right.
up the programs onto the onboard computers.
Okay.
Okay, so again, please tell me about the testing.
All right, the testing, after the blower is done assembly, it's brought over into test. We'll install the programs into the onboard computers. This will then go into the test cell, the blower. We run different tests. We make sure that it's got a function test that we do, and then we'll do a calibration test to make sure it's all set up and protected so when it goes out in the field it will operate correctly.
Nice. Okay. All right, and then the quality assurance happens. Tell me about that.
After the test, we've got it all, pretty much all the bugs worked out. It'll move over into quality. Quality will do its final checks. It'll go through and make sure that the prints that we've used and all the other specs from the customer are all correct, and he verifies that we built the unit correctly.
Nice. Okay. And then what happens with the packaging? Why do we have to put it in that wrap?
All right. After final assembly, after inspection, the blower is then taken over to the packaging department. It's in a heat shrink, very similar to a boat wrap, which will prevent any rust while the blower is sitting on site during, it could take 3 months before it be installed. So it's there for protection purposes, and basically for protection purposes.
Okay. All right. So you get one more take with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about that packaging.
All right. The packaging is after the quality inspection, the unit's brought over into the packaging department. It's packaged up. It's heat shrunk, it's similar to a boat wrap. It's used to prevent scratches to the unit during shipping, and it also protects the blower from high humidity while during storage.
Nice. Okay. And what's it made out of that wrap? Plastic or what is it?
Well, the one wrap that we use, there's it's a VIC. It's a film that's used to protect the blower from rust.
Yeah, but what's it made out of?
It's plastic, but it's got a chemical impregnate thing that actually emits.
Okay. But it is plastic,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Basically plastic.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Very good.
Yes.
All right, so let's see what else. We're almost done here. Anything else that you enjoy about working here?
The long hours. No. No, I think the biggest thing here is it's got a group, big family oriented. We've got very few people, like I said earlier, so it's a good place to work in that aspect. It is challenging because there is a few people also, but you're always experiencing new things. You get to try different things, and you always have challenges that you'll get every day. So it's a very challenging job, which is what I like the most. So.
Nice. Really nice. Okay, I think that's it, Josh. We just want to get a shot of you interacting
Okay.
with someone, if you can. Okay.
I think we're ready.
You want to check my mic? Is it working?
Yeah,
Test 1, 2, test.
perfect.
Okay. Tony, please say your first name and your last name and spell both for me.
First name is Anthony Germano.
Do you want to be known as Tony or Anthony?
Anthony.
You do. Okay. Very good.
Anthony Germano
Okay. Your official title here?
is test technician.
Okay. We're going to ask you questions about your job here, as well as how did you get the job that you have here. So, Anthony, tell me, what do you... first of all, when I ask you a question, can you please speak in a complete sentence or give me a complete thought back? Like if I
Certainly.
say, why do you like working here, you say, I like working here because, and then that way the whole thing comes from you. You don't have to hear me ask the question. So, what are you testing the units for?
We're testing the units for the health of the unit. They come from production, and we'll put them in the test cell. We'll work out any bugs, and then we'll go through the procedure that we have set to test the machine at various points along the pressure and RPM and make sure the health of the machine is okay before it goes to the customer.
Nice. Okay. What are some of the things that could possibly be wrong with the unit that you're looking for?
There may be some minor miswires on any of the systems due to human error, or not necessarily human error that's done here, but maybe along the way the drawings may have changed and there may be some miscommunication between engineering and production, and it's quite possible that we'll find slight miswires that will render a system inoperable, and therefore we'll have to troubleshoot it, identify the problem, fix it, try and capture the fix on the drawings, get it to Montreal so that they can prevent that occurrence in further units. Does that answer your question?
It does, yeah. Okay. Why is this a great job for you to have here in Plattsburgh?
Well, for one thing, it's a very good job in this area, not just in Plattsburgh, but in this area. Technical jobs like this are sometimes hard to come by. The stability, I've been here 4 years. My employee number is 1, so I was the first person hired other than the management that's been here. And it's a good job to have because the pay is great for this area. The location, it's not in Center City, Plattsburgh. The route here from my house is almost ideal. It's easy to travel in and out, and the environment here, we all know each other. It's rather small, and the camaraderie between the workers and even the management, it's because we're small, it makes it so that everybody knows everybody, and we all have a good working relationship, and anybody will help somebody out. If they need help, they'll drop what they're doing, come assist, and then go back to their task. So it's informal, decent pay, good location, all those things rolled into one.
Nice. Why are you proud or happy to work with this organization?
It's a new organization, so that makes me happy to be part of it, because I think that this industry has a lot of potential. There's a lot of things, well, almost nothing I knew prior to this. Prior to working here, I almost knew nothing about this industry. And it's one of those industries that's behind the scenes, but it's everywhere. The turbo blowers are predominantly used in wastewater treatment plants. However, we have used them in other manufacturing. Customers have purchased them for manufacturing, not just for wastewater. But the wastewater treatment facet of it is huge. And it's something that I was never aware of until I was lucky enough to get hired. And there's a whole array of things that go along with this that I never knew existed until I worked here. All of the municipalities that use these types of items, the equipment is aging, it's hard to get parts for, and this technology is new, it's efficient, and it's sought after by a lot of these municipalities, both here in the United States and elsewhere. So it's exciting. It may not seem like it, but it's exciting to be part of this new technology that is really needed almost everywhere. So that has a good draw for me to be here. And recently the test technicians have started to go out on the road to the sites to help with what we call the startups. So that's interesting as well. So until now, I've been focused on what goes on here, but now there's opportunity to go out to the different sites where we send the machines and help them get up and running, and that's good.
Tell me about that element that you're going out now. Repeat that part, and why is that a great thing for you?
The test technicians have been tasked to go out on the road and do the startups for these machines at the sites wherever they may be. And that's exciting because we only get to see what goes on here. So we have a very nearsighted view of the process, how these are used. They're only utilized here in the test cells as far as our local knowledge is right here. But being able to go out on site and seeing how they're utilized for a real working environment it gives it a different perspective. It gives me a different perspective. I have not gone out on the road for a startup as of yet, but I have been on one or two sites to see how they were used, and that is it broadens your perspective as to what's going on. Instead of seeing the small picture, you get to see how this piece of equipment plays in a big system and how it does an important job. But for the technicians to go out on the road, it's an opportunity that is nice because we get to travel. We'll get to see other places that we may not see, and we'll get to see our equipment used the way it's designed and meant to be used. So.
Nice, very good. For whom would you recommend your type of work? What kind of person would really excel at this?
This type of work would be best suited for somebody who has both mechanical hands-on skills as well as electrical and computer skills. Those three things I think are very useful to have. If you're looking for a job in this setting, it's good to have the electrical, mechanical, and the computer skills. A lot of the younger guys are very adept at using the computer programs that we use. They've been brought up with it since they've been born. They've always been associated with computers. Some of the older folks, like myself, it's new, it's different, and it's hard to grasp. But the younger generation seems to really grab onto it, run with it, and it's better suited, I think, for somebody who has strong computer skills, and then to marry that up with electrical and mechanical skills. That's the type of person that would thrive in this sort of environment.
Trying to think of the order I want to ask this. I need to know about your education and what previous jobs you had before this. So can you just take me through that?
Sure. My path to get here started when I was a young man in the Marine Corps. I joined the Marine Corps after high school, and I was an aviation electrician. And I spent 6 years in the Marine Corps, and I had a lot of good hands-on working skills on mechanical and electrical. And when I left the Marine Corps, I got a job for a government contractor working on the same aircraft that I was associated with when I was in the service. And I did that for a good number of years. And, excuse me, and my wife and I, due to a few things and changes, we ended up moving here to Plattsburgh. We wanted to change. We went from Maryland to Plattsburgh. And I wanted to back up my practical hands-on experience with education. So I decided to go into the industrial tech program at Clinton Community College. And I went through the industrial tech program there, and I graduated with an associate's degree. And that was a feather in my cap where I could utilize that education coupled with my hands-on experience, gave me a little bit more credibility and furthered my marketability to get a position. And I was fortunate enough to be called by Gary. Gary Cederstrom called me one day, and I was thrilled to be able to come in for an interview, and I ended up fortunately getting the job. And that was really the path that led me to here, was my hands-on practical experience with aviation, electrical work, and then coupled with my education from Clinton Community College was, I think, something that was very, very, it facilitated me getting the job here. And the nice thing about this company here was I was working on my education, as many of us have gone through. There's probably, I think, 4 of us that have gone through the industrial tech program at Clinton. And I was fortunate enough to come here without my degree, and was not allowed, but they worked with me to attend classes as I was working here to finish that degree. You know, maybe I had 1 or 2 classes where I had to leave 15, 20 minutes early, and that was, they facilitated me to do that, to get over to school. And I was really thankful and happy for that type of courtesy from APG Neuros to help me finish my education. That was a goal of mine.
I like all of that. That's all great. I would like a shorter version of that.
Okay,
This is, I don't know how long the piece is, maybe a minute
that's
or
fine.
2 minutes.
I can make it more succinct.
I'd like it bullet points. You were in the Marines, working on the electrical
I'm ready.
aviation.
Okay. The path that led me to here, I was in the Marine Corps with hands-on electrical aviation experience. We ended up moving to this area, my wife and I. I coupled that with a degree from Clinton Community College. APG Neuros contacted me, and the industrial tech program at Clinton is in my background. The aviation maintenance experience from the military is in my background, and I was fortunate enough to be able to get hired here at Clinton, or excuse me, at APG Neuros with that in my background.
I love it, but we lost something there. I like the brevity though. Okay. Can we go from the Marines to Clinton Community? Tell me what the program is that you're in Clinton Community College. Tell me you got hired here. You weren't finished yet with your degree, and they let you.
Okay,
They enabled you to finish it.
got it.
And that's your path, right?
Yep,
Okay.
that's right.
All right. So go ahead and tell me that.
The path that led me here to APG Neuros was my military experience from aviation in the Marine Corps and the Clinton Community College Industrial Tech Program education. I was in process of getting my degree when I got hired here.
I'm so sorry. You know, I'm being too rough on you, and we lost something there. I want to hear what you did with the planes in the Marine Corps.
Okay, my aviation electrical experience.
Yeah, that's
So
that.
you want me to go in detail with that?
No, it's just the first time you told me it was a little more
You could
electrical.
chop up that first one.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just wondering, what can we cut to? What is? This is
Him
my first
doing
time doing
testing?
this.
That's fine.
This
Yeah.
particular format. So what
Probably
can
him
we
doing
cut?
it working, him doing the testing, and
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm completely whatever you want to do.
I think we've got what you need, Paul.
Okay.
Is my instinct.
All right, I'm just
The
gonna have
first time was great.
I'm gonna have him do it one more time.
Okay.
But just take me through that path one more time. Just as you're doing it briefly and giving me bullet points, just make it a little more illustrative so that we understand it a little bit more, like what you're doing in the Marines. Then you go to Clinton Community to get what kind of degree. Then you get hired here, and they're enabling you to finish your degree.
Okay, I'll try and remember all that. Okay, the path that led me here to APG Neuros was my aviation experience in the military. I was an aviation electrician in the Marine Corps, and I was fortunate enough to work on the aircraft when I left the Marine Corps in civilian life. After we transitioned here, I ended up going to Clinton Community College to back up my hands-on experience with the industrial tech program. The degree from Clinton Community College, I was in process of that when I got hired here, and I was very fortunate enough to be able to finish that as I worked here. Then once I finished that, I obviously continued to work here and worked in the test department, and APG Neuros has done a great job facilitating myself and the other folks that are going to school or have gone to school in that regard.
That was it. That's what I wanted to hear. You nailed it. All right, perfect. So, did you get on-the-job training as well here? Tell me about that.
To be honest, not so much. I mean, let me tell you, the experience of learning what this job entailed was something that was new to all of us. We did not have a script to go by. We did not have test manuals. Myself, the test supervisor, Josh, who is now the plant manager, we had to come up with everything on our own, basically. He went to Korea for training, and then my hat's off to him because he had to deal with the Korean language barrier, and he gathered everything he needed from I think a 2-week visit to Korea to operate this plant in the test department. And it was a lot of trial and error. and there was a lot of rough times, and we did not have a set process as to exactly what had to be done. And through a lot of phone calls and emails and just learning things as you go, we ended up figuring out what we had to do. And that's really the training that we received. There was no formal training. We've had a few minor classes. We went to some of the distributors of the supplies, the suppliers of the equipment that we get. We took a visit to their facilities. We got 1 or 2 days worth of training to get familiarized with their equipment. And some of the other folks have gone to some of the other distributors to get training, but they were just seminars, 1 or 2 day, and then it was maybe tribal learning. They'd come back, pass it down to us, what they've learned, what they've picked up, and then we'd incorporate it into our test procedures. And that's really so far how we've gained the knowledge that we've gained.
What motivated or inspired you to choose this kind of career?
The motivation for this type of career, it's this type of career, and I can be more specific and say this job, is because it's in a good working environment. It's self-contained. Everything we have here is under this roof, and that appeals to me because some of the jobs that I've had in the past, whether it's aviation or otherwise, pretty harsh environments. And as I age, I look forward to being sheltered from the rain and the wind and the sun for my working hours. And the nice building, the nice atmosphere, the decent pay for the area was something that really attracted me to this type of job. And I am so lucky that it fits my skills, my skill set that I've acquired. I'm really fortunate that this facility is here.
And also along those lines, in terms of what motivates you for this kind of job, what are your interests that led you to this job? Like, as a kid or whatever, what did you like to do?
My interests in this regard, dealing with this type of work, started out when I was a young child. I always had a train set that was up all year round. My dad allowed me to keep the train set up downstairs, and I learned about electricity, the basics of it. So I felt rather comfortable dealing with electricity since I was young. I learned through getting shocked, mildly of course, how it operates, what it does, what it can do, and learn a respect for it. I've learned that through my experience in aviation, I enjoy how mechanical and electrical come together to get these machines to do what we want. So it was a natural progression from one thing as another. Remote control airplanes, trains, just tinkering around with things, building crazy things when you're a kid. And it all comes down to being a jack of all trades and being able to accomplish just about anything with relative success. That all helped transition into this type of career field.
Nice, very good. What kinds of soft skills are required for the job? For example, attention to detail, communication, organization, attendance, interpersonal skills?
Interpersonal skills, attention to detail, all those things that you would expect to be important when you're working with data, when you're working with people, when you're working with collecting details and capturing details. They're all necessary. The information that we collect throughout our test process is often looked at months later. You may have to go back and look at something, and it's important that you take detailed notes. You write down the correct values and the instances and the occurrences, because everybody knows as time goes by, memories fade, details become jumbled. But if you have a detailed account of what happened, that's invaluable. And all of those things that I mentioned are very important. Organizational skills. I really don't know how to stress that enough, that all those things that you learn in school, that you dot the I, cross the T, it really comes into play here. And especially when you have so many different people that may be working on the same project or projects, due to the nature of the requirements throughout the facility. You may be working in that test cell one day, you may be working out here on the floor the next day, and somebody will come in after you, pick up where you left off, or you pick up where they left off. So it's important that all the processes are followed, and all that stuff comes into play. So.
Great. What challenges do you face on a daily or weekly basis that you have to overcome?
The challenges that we face here are, and I think this is probably everywhere, is communication. We have a unique set of circumstances where we have Montreal, which is Canadian. We have a lot of different nationalities with different languages. There's not only one language barrier, but there may be 2 or 3 language barriers. We have Russian people with Russian background, with Mideast background, with French Canadian background. So all those different backgrounds create a unique communication problem, which I think for the most part we do a decent job, but it is problematic at times, and that's a challenge for all of us here. But so far, so good. We're dealing with it.
These people with the Russian background and the French Canadian, are they your customers or who are they?
We have had customers that come from all over the world. UK are some folks that I can think of off the top of my head. But mainly it's the engineers. The people under the APG umbrella have multi-ethnicity, and it's great in the fact that there is so many different types of people involved in one organization, but on the other hand, it can create some problems.
But they're not here in this facility.
They are not here, but they are in our direct link to Montreal. The project engineers that we have to deal with for the certain projects, you know, the language barrier and maybe even the customs and courtesies may be a little bit different from ethnic backgrounds, and that creates a bit of challenge from time to time.
Okay, very good. How satisfied are you? You've already answered this, but I'll just ask you.
That's fine.
How satisfied are you with this career?
I'm satisfied on a scale of 1 to 10. I'd say about an 8. That's, I think, a pretty high rating, and I'm extremely thankful to be able to be in an area where I'm that happy. Coming to work on a daily basis is it's always something new pops up. Even though it's a routine type of environment, there's always twists and turns that come up that we have to deal with. So it's never going to be the same movie over and over. Even though you may think you've seen it again, there's always something different. And it's amazing when you have machines that are, you would expect them to be cookie cutter type machines. There's always slight differences between customers, between computer programs being upgraded. So that changes, and that adds a little bit of flavor or seasoning. So it increases the satisfaction by being diversified.
And again, just about the job in general, what do you think is impressive about these particular turbo blowers?
The impressive features of these blowers, I would have to say, is their efficiency. They have unique technology in them that allow them to run at a very efficient rating as far as the amount of electricity they consume in regards to amount of air that they move. Compared to older technology, the older technology is large, ours is small. The older technology is noisier, ours is not as loud and intrusive. So those features themselves, it's exciting to be part of it. You know, the new technology that is put into these machines and the cost savings that I've learned from customers who come here to witness the machines is pretty extraordinary compared to what is in use today. It's pretty amazing as far as the cost savings that they are going to incur when they purchase these items. So I find that interesting.
Nice. You've done so well. Is there anything else you'd like to tell me about anything that we've talked about?
I think that's about it.
Do you want to have him just give us an overview of what the test procedure is, so that when we film him doing that,
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Take us through the very briefly, please. The test procedure.
The test procedure consists of bringing the machines into the test cell, and we will look them over for obvious defects. We'll power them up, work out the bugs, and then the basic nuts and bolts of the test procedure is we have 4 points that we look at, and we basically apply different pressures and different speeds to the blower and capture the data. We know what the blower should do, and we copy what it does. So we bounce back and forth what we're expecting and what we get. And if we find issues where it's not acting like we would expect, we'll look into it further. We record that data once we collect it, and then we'll move them out. We'll do what's called a post inspection, and then it'll be over to shipping, and they will prepare the machine to go to the customer.
And why can no one be in the room at the time of the testing? And where do you have to be when you're testing?
The rules that we have set forth are for safety. There are times when we are in the test cell next to the machine when it's operating. It's a very safe machine. It's not something that is scary or dangerous. But just for safety's sake, we ask, and to minimize, if anything should go wrong, to minimize people's exposure, we only have a few people in the test cell at a time or in the control room at a time. And that's purely for safety reasons, to make sure that people are not going to be affected if something would go wrong. But there are times when we have to go into the machine, look at it when it's operating, take sound readings, things like that. But it's just to minimize people being exposed to the possibility of mishaps.
Perfect. Hey, thanks so much.
awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
I am rolling.
Okay, so Sharon, please say your name and spell your name first and last.
Sharon Jarvis, SharonJarvis.
And again, your title is?
Logistics.
Very good.
Let me make one adjustment to the microphone, Paul.
All right.
I'm soft spoken.
No, you're good. I'm just gonna put this on the other side.
Now, are you a longtime resident of Peru?
I'm originally from Ellenburg, but I've been there for 15 years.
Okay. So pretty much this general area.
Yeah.
You've lived here
Do you mind if I just button this one button?
Yep.
Thank you. Alrighty. Sarah, can you just count 10 for me real quick so I can get a level?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Great. All right, Paul.
We're rolling?
We are good to go.
Good. Sharon, what are some of your jobs here? What do you do?
I do shipping and receiving, so when the trucks come up to the dock, I unload them and then sign the paperwork, make sure everything's good, the material's good, not damaged. And if it's damaged, I write it up for QA to inspect it. And then I take all the paperwork off it and do all the receiving in the computer so we know if the inventory is right and what contracts the material goes to. And then if there's material that needs to go out to the field, I pick all that, get that ready for shipping, and do counts for inventory. I do pick all the material for production for them to build the machines. I do all FedEx, income and outgoing FedEx material. I drive forklifts. It's about repetitive stuff.
Can I have a reduced version of that, a shorter version? I like it when you said the trucks come in and I take it from the truck. I do all the paperwork. I put it in the computer. Just reduce it, make it a little bit shorter.
Okay.
Just the main things that you do.
So just, okay.
And I liked it how you said you checked for something. You checked to make sure that. I
The-
can't remember what it was.
Material's not damaged.
Yes, that's it.
Because
Okay.
a lot of the material that we use here is expensive, very
Yes.
expensive.
So I like that. I like that element.
So we have
Just can you just reduce it, make it a little shorter?
Okay.
what you do? So so what is it you do here?
I undo and then I unload the
You can start
trucks.
over.
When the trucks back up, I unload the trucks. I check for damage. If not, I do the receiving in the computer. And then if there's stuff that needs to get shipped out, I ship stuff to the field. Pick material for production. short enough.
That's good. There was a. I'm so sorry to be hard on you. There's a little noise back there that we heard, so I'd like to try that again.
Oh, and just one thing, Sharon, is don't look at the camera. Just look at Paul.
Okay.
Or look away, but don't look at the camera.
All right. So, and there's a part where I get confused, where you say I do the receiving on the computer. What are you doing on the computer exactly?
So when we get a packing slip on all the material, I enter that like I have POs that I get, and they have to match up with the stuff that comes in. So I enter that into our Epicor system.
So you're entering what? What's a PO?
It tells you what the product is, where it came from, how many, what their part number is, what our part number
And
is.
that's like the inventory, is that correct? Or not?
Yeah, it's all the inventory that we carry has that type of description on it too.
Just if you can just simplify that by saying I enter information about it into the computer,
Okay.
like just real simple language here, not POs and stuff like that.
Okay.
I'm so sorry to be hard on you.
That's okay. It's
So again, tell me what you do when the truck comes in. What do you actually take off the truck, or what are we talking about? We talking about the enclosures?
material
The material.
for like sometimes it is the enclosure, sometimes
Oh, it's
it
anything.
yeah.
Could be any of these.
Yeah.
Okay, so any material. Okay,
Yep.
very good. Okay, so just make that clear for me. So one more time. So what is it you do here, Sharon?
So I unload trucks, I unload material and enclosures, take the packing slips off the material and enter it into our system for inventory.
How was that with sound?
I did hear that.
We're gonna do it one more time. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
she was great.
You're doing really well. I like that one.
It's going to be different every time I say it.
It's fine.
That's fine.
It's fine.
We'll
Okay,
pick the
so-
best parts.
Exactly.
Okay.
All together.
Okay, so tell me again. What do you do?
So I unload trucks, I take the the material.
Let's just relax.
I'm getting all
I'm so
nervous. I have to
sorry.
do it so many times.
You're doing really well. All right. Just know that. Okay, so go ahead and tell me what happens.
Okay, when the trucks back up, I unload the trucks, the material that we use, enclosures or the stuff that goes inside, and I take the packing slips off and enter them into our system for our inventory.
Nice. And tell me about the forklift. What do you do with the forklift and why you're doing that?
I have to move a lot of material around to put stuff on shelves, so I drive the forklifts. We have 3 different kind that I can drive.
So we've lost all the joy.
Plus, I'm not feeling well.
You were so happy before.
I know. I'm nervous. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're doing fine. All right. Okay, so tell me about the forklift again. Tell me, I drive the forklift, and what is that like for you?
Oh, okay. I drive the forklift and I bring the material to the guys, or if I have to put material back on a truck to take and ship out, and take stuff off the shelf for inventory.
And how do you enjoy driving the forklift? What is that like for you?
Oh, I like driving big machinery, so it's fun. It's a challenge, and
Good. Okay. Can we get that one more time from you? So I like driving big machines.
okay, I like driving big machinery, and I like taking stuff off shelves and
Okay. Nice.
say.
Okay. What do you enjoy about working here?
Nice atmosphere, small group of people. We all get along really well. That's about it.
Can I get you to tell me that you enjoy working here, and just some of the reasons? So again, I'm asking you to repeat that
Okay.
thought to me.
I like working here because we get along really well. It's a small group of people, and everybody's nice to each other, and it's just a friendly environment.
Good. Hey, you've done very well, and I appreciate it.
Oh.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry about
no,
everything.
You did fine. I made you nervous. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My husband be.
All right. Paul, I'm rolling whenever you're ready.
Also, don't feel the need to always say APG Neuros. The audience is going to know, by the time you appear on screen, they're going to know that you work for APG Neuros.
Okay.
All right, Gary, please say your first name and your last name and spell both for me.
Gary Cederstrom. It's Cederstrom.
Okay, that third letter, C-E, and then what?
D as in dog.
E-R-S-T-R-O-M.
Yes.
And your official title here?
Logistics manager. But just so you know, I am responsible for the administration here as well.
All right. And we're rolling, Dan?
Yeah.
And you're gonna look right at me during this, Gary?
Okay.
Okay. So what does APG Neuros make? And yeah, what do you make, and what does the product do actually?
We make what's called a turbo blower, and basically what that is used in is our main customer is a water treatment facility, and what they use it for is to basically aerate the sludge field to help the bacteria grow. We have also sold the product to other industries, mainly a paper mill. We've also sold to Dannon Yogurt, and they're using it in the similar process to move or create the movement of water or some other material to help their product get to its final stages.
Nice. Okay, very good. Why do you think Plattsburgh, New York is a good location for this operation?
I think one is the proximity to our head office, which is outside of Montreal.
Please stop you.
Sure.
Can you please say Plattsburgh in your response?
Okay. Okay. Oh, I was going to get to that
Okay,
because
I'm so sorry.
listen, no problem. I think Plattsburgh's a good location for a couple of reasons. One, the proximity to our head office, which is located outside of Montreal. Two, an obvious reason is it's in the U.S., which was a requirement for some of the contracts that we had with various customers. And I believe our president knew that Plattsburgh was a growing community for manufacturing, so the workforce was here, ready, willing, and able.
Nice, very nice. How well known would you say this company is in Plattsburgh?
Probably not real well known because we are kind of unique compared to other manufacturers here in Plattsburgh. I mean, we have a lot of rail industry, bus industry being the Nova Bus and Bombardier, and all their offshoots. We don't really have offshoots that we work with here. We have one company that we work with locally, but I think because of that and the size of our company, the word just doesn't get out. Not everyone deals with turbo blowers versus people ride buses, people ride on trains. But this is just a unique product. I had never heard of the company before it moved here either.
Why do you think this is a nice place to work for you?
Oh, one of the reasons is we have a small group of people that work here, so we've become very close professionally and personally. Some people knew each other prior to working here in a different position in a different company. So that helped the transition of bringing people in. Being small, we get to work very close together. It's almost a requirement that we help out in other areas. So that's I think, a plus for us. So if we are having people out sick or out on vacation, we have people that can fill in and do pretty much what they were asked to do. That's a good opportunity for people to grow within the company, even though we're small as well. You know, we've had people start in our shipping department and grow into assemblers or test technicians. So I think that's another plus for us. We have now opportunities for some of our employees to go out into the field, so that's giving them more skills within our industry. So they'll be asked to do more, which I think is a good thing. So Plattsburgh, obviously the company being small, Plattsburgh is the only facility other than our head office, but Plattsburgh is where everything happens. That's where you get your training and your development as an employee here.
Nice. Okay, very nice. Okay, the turbo blowers are energy efficient. Why is that so important?
Well, you know, with any industry, you want to be as efficient as you can be with your product. You know, with the green initiative and such with the environment, what our blower allows is that we can promote it as being green because it is. We do not use any oil in the bearings. It's an airfoil bearing. There are efficiencies in the aerodynamics, the high-speed motor. All these lead to the customer being able to save approximately 40% in operating costs. With the economy the way it is today and many municipalities looking to save money, this is one way they can do that. So there's very low maintenance, which will also make the operating cost be much more cost effective.
Very good. Wow, you answered 3 of my questions all in one blow.
Efficiency.
Yeah. Okay, APG Neuros is, would you say it's the technology leader in the wastewater treatment aviation technology?
Yes, I would, and I think it's for some of the reasons I stated in the previous question with the efficiencies and aerodynamics and such. Our technology is not used by any other of our competitors, so that in itself lends our company to be the first in its class.
May I have you, I'm going to have you do that again.
Sure.
There's a fly, can you just brush that for me?
Hopefully I remember what I just said.
So basically what I'm getting at is APG Neuros is the technology leader in the wastewater treatment aviation technology. How is that? Because you said your competitors aren't using the technology. How is that, and why is that impressive? But if you could just tell me that APG Neuros is the technology leader.
Yes, APG Neuros is the technology leader, and some of it stems from what I said previously, is that our technology is such that no other competitors have that. So we are considered first in our class.
Why is that impressive to you?
To us, I mean, it tells us that customers want to use our product. So from a small town in Plattsburgh, New York, we're a leader in the wastewater treatment turbo blower industry throughout the U.S., the world, basically. That says a lot for what we can do.
Nice. Okay. Is there anything else that you think is great, just from a layman's perspective? People watching at home, what's great about these turbo blowers?
I will have to go layman's because you know, I'm not a technology wizard here, but I think it's just the fact that customers can rely on our product, pure and simple. We install them, we warranty them, we're there for the customer from start to finish and beyond. So I think that's very important message to get out there.
Nice. Okay. Anything else that you enjoy about working here?
I was fortunate enough to come on board from the very beginning. So I've seen the company grow firsthand. I've seen it stumble, but I've seen us get back up and work out the problem and come up with a solution. I've been involved in everyone that we've hired here, so that's been an enjoyable piece for me personally. Saying that I've been a part of growing a good workforce here that likes to work together and get something accomplished. You know, if we come across a problem, we'll fix it.
Nice. Good, good, good. How is the company growing right now, and what kinds of opportunities are there, if any, in Plattsburgh?
Right now, I wouldn't say we're growing. We're kind of shifting our focus. I stated earlier that some of our test technicians are now getting the opportunity to go out on the road. It's been decided that when a unit goes out to the customer and they're ready to start it up, our test technicians will go out and be part of that startup. Prior to that, we had other.
Sorry, we can't deal with that. All right. Okay, let's start over.
Sure.
So my question was, how is the company growing? You said it's shifting. Can you tell me again, our company focus is shifting, and tell me how is that and what's it doing for the test technicians?
Yes, we're not at the current moment growing per se. We're kind of, if you want to call it growing, it's growing our our knowledge base. Our test technicians are now going out on the road and being part of the startup. The startup being when the customer is installing it and wants to get the unit up and running. Because we do the testing here, we know how to start the unit up. So that's in a sense, we're growing more responsibility for the people here. Not within these four walls, but they're having the opportunity to go out and work with a customer one-on-one. So that's a good opportunity for some people here. And it may get to the point where we're also sending some of our assemblers out if there's a repair that has to be done that doesn't require a test technician. So that opportunity might present itself at one point. We've taken a lot on here, but we've also kind of at the point now said this is what we can do with the workforce we have. We'll be doing customization work here and possibly some rework jobs as well. So we're not growing numbers-wise, but some of the what we're actually doing here is changing. So it's new for the people.
What can be the advantage for a test technician? Like, how is this going to help the person?
I think it's just going to provide them with opportunities they didn't see here. When we test the unit, it's in it's a set environment in a test cell. It's not out at the customer site in Florida or California. It's not outside where some of these units will be installed. So they're getting to see different setups and might be able to, they'll learn from that, but they might be able to bring something back as well and say, we might need to do this with our units, or we might need to talk to the customer when we're in the sales side of it, and say, these are some things we need to incorporate in our agreement with a customer before we sell a unit. Things like that might not have been thought of before. So it's providing them with just more opportunities to get involved in the company and come up with solutions.
Nice. Okay. Anything else you would like the audience to know?
Just that hopefully now you know what APG is, what we do, what we can offer, and that we're going to be here hopefully for a long time in this community.
Great, I think that's it.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
no problem at all.
So you know what we